Ep9. We're broadcasting live from the Philippines. And in case you haven't been following our live broadcast for the last 5 days or so, we built this city from the ground up, from episode 1, from a live broadcast. And essentially the goal of this live stream was really to get a good grip on traffic. So as you can see, we have a population of 170,000, so our city's pretty big. And we have a traffic flow of currently at 88%. And so that is astoundingly, that's excellent. That's really very good for a city of this size. Now, that is not to say we don't have any problem. I actually let the game running for a few hours while I went to bed. And when I woke up this morning, well, I've got a new big problem, is that unemployment. So we're going to tackle unemployment in this episode, or try to anyway, because I left the game running. There is a great imbalance in the game now where, as you can see in the RCI graph on the lower right corner there, we need to build a whole lot more industries. And of course, we have built a lot of industries. We've got forestry and farming here. This entire section here is actually farming. But the computer wants us to obviously build more so we can employ more people so we can maintain our population. So what we're going to do is we're going to change things up a bit. Currently, this is my tourism district, and this is my forestry, and then what is that right now? And that's also tourism. We're probably going to de-zone this tourism district here and convert that into more forestry, simply because there's a great demand for industries and not so much right now for leisure, which is what this district is right now. So let's go ahead and de-zone these. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to look at your business elsewhere. Yeah, if you're just joining us and you don't know how we achieve such an excellent traffic flow, we've actually just been using primarily cable cars. One of the things that we discovered very early on in building this city, I think it was day 3, is how effective cable cars can be for building your city. Now, I'm not really recommending that you build your entire city with cable cars, which kind of what we did here mostly. I think yesterday we started to add some metro lines into the game. So I mean, we're not using cable cars exclusively anymore. We were in the first, I'd say in the first 150,000 population. So you can really, and the only reason we switched to using other modes of mass transit is because I'm beginning to not like, let me pause the game actually. I'm beginning to not like how the cables look like on the surface. So I kind of like the metro or subway in that the tube or the lines underneath the ground, so you can't really see it. So let's go ahead and extend our district first. So we're going to extend our forestry district to encompass or cover this top area here. And in fact, we're going to include this train station, this cargo train station. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and zone some more industrial zones, which are going to be forestry actually. I'm going to use a fill, nope, not fill, a large brush. You can see there's still that cable car line going across this part of the map. So we have some buildings that were left over that needs to be demolished. So we will just go ahead and manually do that. They actually need to be de-zoned. That's what the problem is. So eventually we're going to end up extending our city all the way to the right side here, replacing this tourist district with more industrial zones. So if you're just joining us, we have a city of 170,000 people right now, with a traffic flow of currently at 89%. So we've done an extremely good job in building this city and managing traffic at the same time. But currently we are solving a brand new problem. I left the game running for a few hours last night, and when I woke up we have a massive new problem that we need to solve, and that is unemployment. So we're currently extending our industrial zone so we can create more jobs for our citizens. So while that builds out, I think I'm gonna zone more residential zone, because we do want our city to grow beyond 170k. So this entire area here is actually residential and office zones, like all of it, everything that you see here. And that's where the bulk of my population is. There's probably like 140,000 in this area here, maybe, I'm guessing. Maybe not, I don't know. But we're gonna go ahead and extend that beyond its current size, because it seems like we've outgrown it. I'm trying to figure out whether to extend to the right or extend up. Since we want our population to grow, I'm thinking I want to extend up. So let's go ahead and buy the area up there. And I'm thinking I should just buy both sides of the map. Let's start with this one, I guess. This would have been perfect to use for industrial zone, because a train zone is coming through it. Whereas this was a pretty hard area to use for an industrial zone, because there were no original train tracks coming through this area. I actually had to like jerry-rig it a little bit and build some. Looks like there was a little bit of a forest fire there. That's okay. And there is a way to deal with forest fires. You can build fire watch towers and build what do you call these things? The fire helicopter depot. But I actually haven't built these in this game just yet. Basically, when I have a forest fire in my city, I just let it burn until it dies out. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and update my YouTube thumbnail and description. So let me just put the game on hold for a second while I do that. Please stand by if you're already watching. So we'll just see if our new industrial zone will develop. Of course, since we de-zoned quite a bit of commercial zone, now the computer's gonna want me to build more commercial zones. It's a balancing act between commercial zone and industrial zone. It always is. It's always like it's a moving target. Alright, so let's see. So now that we bought the piece of land up there, I'm gonna lay out a brand new. So when I build any new section of my city, one of the things I do is I tend to build it in its own little bubble. So what do I mean by that? I build it in isolation, actually. So I would normally lay out a grid. Let's go ahead and lay out a grid pattern. And I'm sorry that I use grids. I know grids are very boring. But there is a purpose for them. It makes it easy to maximize your land. Now I could demolish this, whatever that is. I probably should, in fact. It looks kind of ugly. But I will keep it there for now. Go ahead and measure a construction cost of 400 by 400. That's how I build my game. That's how I build my cities, rather. I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna lay out the roads this way. I'm just measuring right now. Alright, so now the computer's obviously demanding more commercial zones. So what we're going to do is we're going to de-zone a little bit of this industrial zone here, because we don't need it, honestly. So bye-bye industrial zone. So this is something that you have to get used to when you're playing City Skyline, is you have to constantly zone and de-zone. You have to kind of optimize your city once in a while. You can't just rest in your laurel and leave your original zones the way you've had it throughout the entire game. As your city grows and expands, obviously your city's needs will change, and therefore your governing methodologies as a mayor needs to change as well. So in order to meet our demand for commercial zones, let's go ahead and zone these. And by the way, I just noticed this, when you have a cargo train station, don't build roads right in front of it like what I did here. That will just cause unnecessary traffic. What you want to do is funnel the traffic so that as the trucks are leaving the cargo train station, they're either going left or going right. Never have an intersection in front of it, because, like I said, that will just cause unnecessary traffic. And again, if you're just joining us, look at our traffic flow right now. For a city of 173,000 people, we have 89% traffic flow. I mean, that is astoundingly good. A city of 173,000 people, and we're maintaining an 88% traffic flow right now. And obviously we're doing something right in this game, right? And I'll explain more of our strategies of how we achieve such high level of success as far as maintaining an excellent traffic flow throughout this city. And you're going to be very surprised by how we did that. We've kind of played this game for the last, I think, 5 days or so now, in a very unconventional way, as you will see in a few moments when I explain how we've achieved a traffic flow of currently at 89% for a massive city of this size, 173,000 people. So, this little train station here was actually already here on the map when I started this map, so I don't know whether I should keep it or throw it away. There seems to be a... Yeah, I'm not sure if I should keep it or throw it away or demolish it, but we'll keep it for right now. I do want to expand my city beyond 170,000, so I do need to build more residential zones. Let's go ahead and lay down some water pipes. Yep, I should be more mindful about how I lay out my water pipes, but I tend to not to, since you never see it anyway. And I know there is some cost to laying out these pipes, so I really should be more mindful, considering that my income is not very good at the moment. But that's okay. And so let's go ahead and lay down some... I think metro station is what I'm thinking. Although, for right now, let's lay down some cable cars. So if you haven't been following us, we've been actually using cable cars all throughout this entire gameplay. Let's see, so I guess I'm going to have to demolish this building here and put a cable car right here. And one of the things that we discovered throughout this gameplay is how effective cable cars can be for moving people from one place to another. So we are gonna need some power lines, of course. Let's go ahead and extend power from here to there. So we're basically, initially we'll just populate this area here with cable cars. and we may move to using a metro or subway later in the game. Since this is a brand new city block we're building, and if you notice, we're building this brand new city block here without any road connection anywhere other than this cable car here. And that's just the way we've been building our city, actually, throughout the entire game, is that every section of the city, for the most part, is isolated from the other parts of the city, and most definitely isolated from the outside world. In fact, this is the one and only connection that we have to the outside world, and that is why you are seeing massive traffic there, because people are coming into the city. But as you can see, it's still a moving traffic. We are still achieving a very high traffic flow, currently at 87%, 88%, and it'll fluctuate between 87 and 90 something, depending on, what hour you're looking at this traffic flow. But basically, so yes, this is the original entry point to my city. I haven't really done any upgrades to it. And the reason you see some traffic here is because there's a cargo station right here, and there's another cargo station down here. As you can see, that's why you see the traffic. Whenever the cargo train station, whenever a train arrives, massive trucks come out of the train, and we have a third and fourth cargo train station here. Now, believe it or not, this forestry district here has no road connection to the farming district here. So like I said, we tend to build out parts of our city in a very disconnected way. And that is actually one of the reasons I've found that you can achieve a really good traffic flow by disconnecting sections of your city, as opposed to like building one massively connected city by road. I think that's been the major mistake that I've been doing all throughout the years I've been playing this game. Another trick that I learned is this. So this cargo train station is super busy. I don't know why. Lots of train passes by or stops by at this cargo train station. So initially I had this cargo train station right next to this road here that you see that's green right now, and I noticed that was creating a massive backlog of traffic all throughout the rest of the farming district here. So in order to control the traffic, what I ended up doing, and again you'll find this highly unusual, is that I created this long road here going left and right there, really up and down on the map, dedicated solely just for this cargo train station. And what that did is it isolated the traffic just to this one road. Basically, I created a road dedicated for this cargo train station, and that worked out really well. So it allows the train to, to come and unload its cargo, as well as take new cargo trucks, and it, my farming district can get the supplies and raw materials that it needs, but without creating massive traffic on the main streets here. And by the way, if you're just now following us, we've only really ever built 2-lane bicycle lanes in this entire game. We really haven't built any other kind of road. So that's another unusual thing that we've done in this game, is we have not so far built high capacity roads. And again, we may change that as time goes on, but just wanted to explain that we've achieved this level of success so far with not really building any high capacity roads. Now, I did leave the game running overnight, so we do have some issues that I kind of woke up to this morning. So we'll slowly tackle that all throughout this live broadcast. And it's generally not a very good idea to just leave your game running while you sleep, but I ended up doing that last night for whatever reason. And so that was, I think, the first time we ever did it in the 9 episodes of live broadcasting that I've done in the last 5 days or so. That was the first time I ever just left the game running and actually continued the game and continued to play the game. But so our population is fast approaching 180,000. That's not our end goal. Our end goal is to get a good handle on unemployment we started out, we have an extremely high unemployment, which is funny because for a city with an extremely high unemployment, why do people keep moving into my city? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm glad that they are. And so let's see. So our residential district is doing pretty good here. We are trying to build a new residential district. So let's go ahead and build our first incinerator plant in this brand new residential district. There's really no good place to put this. I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay, awesome. Alright, looks like we need to populate this area with more people. Let's see, is there already a metro line going through this? And if not, I probably should build one. We have some cable cars going through it, so I think we're okay. Actually, no, we do have metro lines going through it. So I think we're okay. So it's just a matter of just being patient and just waiting for our citizens to discover this new forestry zone. Of course, we did overbuild. That's why if you look at the RCI graph, there's no demand for anything. I think we overbuilt our industrial district at the moment as well as our commercial district, which is okay. It's okay. I mean, over time, it's going to get populated with people, so we're going to be okay. So we started out the game with 170,000 people. Our traffic flow is at 90% currently. And when you're playing this game for any length of time, what you'll notice is that you run into massive traffic. And if you look at my city here so far, we have a population of 177 right now, and traffic, there's not much traffic, honestly. So there is going to be some traffic. This is my industrial zone. Obviously, it's a moving traffic, but that is to be expected. But if you look at the rest of my city, this is a residential zone and a office zone. If you notice, there's literally no traffic. The roads are just green. And there are many reasons how we've achieved that, many ways we've achieved that in this game. So if you're staying, if you haven't been following up in our live broadcast, so the way we've achieved that are, the number of ways we've done that are here. So one, we actually so far have not built any high capacity road other than these main roads here where we've laid out our monument. Actually, this high capacity road has been there since basically day one we started live broadcasting. But we build roads, 2-lane roads with bicycle lanes. That's right. So instead of building high capacity roads, throughout this entire game, we've just been building roads. That's the the road with 2 bicycle lanes, and look at what that does. It forces the population to actually walk. And so by forcing the population to walk or ride their bike, you produce no traffic on the road. But that just makes common sense. I mean, just about everyone else, and I'm a victim of this as well, we just kept building higher and higher capacity roads thinking that that would alleviate traffic. But that's a catch-22. The higher the capacity roads you have, the more your people are going to want to drive, and the more they drive, the more traffic you're going to have. So you kind of get into that loop cycle of, you know, I need better roads, you build better roads, and then now your citizens see you have better roads, they get on the road more and drive more. So you need to break away from that cycle and start thinking of building a green city that does not rely on cars as its primary means of transportation. So also another thing that we do is we build our cities in a very disconnected fashion, at least by road. So this massive area here that you see on screen right now is currently my residential and office district, and it has 0 road connection anywhere. Like literally, this residential and office zone does not connect by road to anything other than itself. So it's a self-enclosed district, if you want to think of it that way. And the only connection it has to the outside world, originally primarily through the use of cable cars, but as the cable cars, as the cables themselves tend to kind of get hairy, pun intended, we started building a subway system or a metro line just quite recently. But literally the metro line has no bearing. I could demolish the metro lines right now, and this district would still be fine only by these cable cars. These cable cars can actually move a very large amount of people. Yeah, so you don't have to overbuild mass transit and have so many layers of mass transit. For our city, our primary mass transit has actually been cable cars, and secondarily metro lines. We just started building those. And for other parts of my city, like this one, this was the first part of my city where we built cable cars. And the reason we did that is I couldn't run a metro line through here. Something about the slope here being so steep. So this was inaccessible by metro lines. So because this was inaccessible by metro lines, I first started running a blimp through this, and then later on discovered that if you use cable cars, I mean, they can just be as effective as any other mass transit option. So you can see here, this one cable car line stop was servicing 514 people last week, 634 people. So you can see that's highly, highly effective. Because if you look at my mass transit, yeah, if you look at my bus system, for example, yeah, you see those shimmering lines, the green line here and the blue line here on the left. I spent like 20 minutes laying out those bus stops. And if you think about it, look at the number of people using it. Only 265 people. So not very much, honestly. Cable cars are actually much, much more effective. If you look at this one cable car stop here, it's just this one stop. This one stop is servicing 520 people. This one stop is servicing more people than my entire bus line. Actually, it's servicing twice as many people. So again, if you've never used cable cars before, hey, it's not a bad option. It's actually a pretty good option. And so let's see here. So we want to build a brand new residential district here, but I guess we haven't filled this one out to capacity because they haven't spilled over here just yet. And then that's okay. I want to connect our metro line to connect to our brand new city that or residential area here that we're trying to build. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's see. Well, this will go this. We'll go this way. I'm thinking. Let's go ahead and connect the tube. And then what we'll do is we'll grab an existing line. So if you don't know how to do that on the console, basically select the line, right, until you see that it says press X or drag line to add stop. So on the PS4, you press and hold the X button and don't let go, so hold on to it. And while you're holding on to it, drag the cursor to where you want the stop to be, the new stop to be, and then let go of the X button. There you go. So you've just extended your existing line to now pass by at this brand new metro station. So this little structure here has been here. It's a part of the original map. I don't want to demolish it. It looks kind of cool in that it's an old building inside this awesomely new built structures here, awesomely new built district. So I guess we'll leave that there for now as a decoration, I guess. Alright, so let's see here. We are doing really good as far as our traffic flow. We have an 89% traffic flow right now. That is really good for a city of this size. So the computer obviously is going to want more commercial zones. And we're running out of space on the right side here to build more commercial zones. Where can we build more? Let's see. Yep, there's a high demand for commercial zones, so I'm trying to figure out where we can build more. I can just de-zone these offices and just build more commercial zone. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I love offices, but I'm gonna have to de-zone them so I can build more commercial zones. So we have a city of 178,000 people at the moment. It's gonna fluctuate as we hit some death wave, but our traffic flow is currently at 89%, which again is really good for a city of this size. And if you notice, the vast majority of the city, other than my industrial and commercial areas, really have no traffic. So the traffic is primarily due to the cargo train station that really can't be avoided. You can see our traffic flow is 90% right now. We have actually many cargo train stations throughout the map, in the industrial and commercial zones of the map, and that's really where you see the traffic, and that's unavoidable because that's commerce for you. That's business, right? I mean, there's going to be like trucks on the road and things like that. Now, if you are having a problem with your cargo train station where you put it in, on your city there, and it's generating massive traffic, I have a cargo train station here that is highly active. So trains passes by here quite often, or a train stops here quite often. And so what I ended up doing to solve the traffic problem for this particular train station here, this cargo train station, and I ended up building an entire road. You can see this road here, dedicated solely for this cargo train station. Now, why did we do that? Because as the cargo trucks gets offloaded from the train, and as cargo trucks come on board the train, they're generating massive traffic. As you can see, the road here is red. So what that was doing, it was backing up the rest of my industrial zone. It was just halting traffic everywhere. So by creating its own road, I've isolated the cargo train traffic to just this one road, and it's still flowing. I mean, it's slow, but it's flowing. But by doing that, I basically minimize traffic to the rest of my city. So that's one way, one really good way you can alleviate traffic from your cargo train station is by building a dedicated road just for that cargo train station. And be sure to make it a very long road. The longer the better. I couldn't really make the road any longer since I'm hitting the boundaries of the map and the main highway there. So yeah, so that's a nice trick for you. If you're gonna build a cargo train station in an area of your city that's super busy, build a dedicated road for that cargo train station. So that's one of the techniques we've employed to achieve a very high traffic flow in our city. Let's see here. So far looks like we have managed to satisfy the computer's demand for commercial and industrial zones. We're just gonna let the computer kind of do its thing for a little while. I have so many I have cargo train stations here, and if you guys have ideas on how to improve my commercial district here, do let me know. Yeah, not enough goods to sell. I don't know how to address that sometimes. Like, I have forestry, I have farming. Sometimes I build just normal industrial zones, and I still get the not enough goods to sell. I mean, I have cargo train stations here. I have normal train stations here for people. I don't know if that's just a fact of life in the game where sometimes you just don't have goods to sell. Yeah, I'm not sure. So let's see if we're in a death wave. I don't know if we are. Not at the moment, actually. It looks like we're okay. 561 people are being born every week and 314 are dying. When you see that number flip to where there are more people dying than being born, that's when you're in a death wave. So, wow, our residential district here is actually doing really well. Look at that. And that's really where the bulk of my population is actually living. Nah, I would say probably at least 60% of my population is probably in this area right here. We have some residential districts here as well, or zones, as well as office zones. And in case you didn't know, guys, when you do zone your residential zone, zone them with office zones as well. And that's what I've done all throughout my game. That way, your citizens, can live close to where they work, so they don't have to get on a car or ride mass transit just to go to work. I know in the beginning of the game, when you're just playing the game, you tend to build a lot of commercial zones, but as your population ages, As you can see, I think at least, what, 50% of my population are adults and seniors. So as your population ages, they actually want more office zones. So keep that in mind. If at least 50% of your population are adults and seniors, build a lot of office zones. And build them literally right next to your residential zones, and that's the way I tend to do. That's the way we did it in this game. So we've got, look at that, we've got residential zones here and then office zones. You build them right next to each other, and there's almost no penalty for that. Honestly, you get the benefit of your citizens they can just walk to work. And we also use 2-lane bike lane roads almost exclusively all throughout this entire city, even on my farming area here, which makes no sense actually. I really should upgrade that. And by doing that, you force your citizens to walk. And again, by walking, you eliminate traffic. So that is one of, that's several techniques that you can employ to get rid of traffic in your city. Yeah, so if you're having traffic problems in your city, don't keep building higher and higher capacity roads. I mean, you're just going to run into a problem where you have traffic, you build high capacity roads, you temporarily alleviate the traffic, you temporarily remove it, but then your citizens are going to notice, oh wow, we have great new roads, I think I'm going to go drive to work. You really want to prevent your citizens from driving for as much as possible. Now, another thing we've done differently in this game is we didn't excessively create mass transit. So, if you look at my game here and how we've done mass transit, so we recently added metro systems. So the metro system is quite limited. It's the green highlights that you see on the map right now. So we added a metro system in this portion of the map, which is my residential and office district. To the farming area. I don't know why we did that. Honestly, we really don't. I may demolish that in the future. But the metro line is actually fairly new in our city. We haven't had metro lines in our city. The primary means of mass transit that really we have been using are just cable cars. I know that's gonna sound so unusual, right? Cable cars? Like, what do you mean? It's like, yes, we've just been using cable cars to connect people from one area of the map to another. And again, by so doing, you minimize driving. Looks like we had a little bit of forest fire here earlier. And that's what's going to happen when you have forestry. You're going to have forest fires. And there is a way to combat that, and I've just been too lazy. You can build a fire department here. Yeah, fire helicopter depot. And then put some watchtowers. Fire watchtowers. That's how you can combat and eliminate, not eliminate, but combat forest fires. I just haven't been doing that. The forest fires haven't really been a big problem in my city, so I'm just gonna cheap out and just not do that right now. So our city is 175 right now. We are actually solving. So I know you guys probably tune in to see my city and the traffic flow. So right now we have a traffic flow of 88% for a city of this size. I mean, that is extremely good. I think of the years that I've been playing City Skylines, this is the first city I've actually just focused on solving a traffic problem. And again, we solve our traffic problem by building roads. If you've never built roads, that is the 2-lane road with bike lanes, please do that, because throughout this entire city, that is all we've done. We use this road exclusively everywhere. I would say 99% of our city uses this 2-lane road with bike lanes. Yeah, so if you've never done that before, I mean, definitely do that. Also, in the beginning part of the game, I'd say in the first 150,000 population, we've just been using cable cars as our mass transit. So you can see this one cable car station is servicing 604 people, and that's pretty massive. That's a lot. That's huge. So yeah, definitely employ some of those techniques. Let's see what else here. So now the computer's demanding more industrial zones. I'm not going to do that right now because this hasn't even been populated with workers. So sometimes that RCI graph can be a bit misleading. We're just going to let the computer do its thing for a little while. That is the largest industrial zone I think I have ever built. And it seems like the computer wants even more. That is crazy. Hey guys, and welcome for tuning in. This is our attempt to build a green city. And you can see right now we have a traffic flow of 88% for a city of 170,000. That is not bad. And look at our bank account too. We have 18 million in the bank. Our income is, only decent right now, 8,000. We've had as high as, 25,000 per week, but we've been spending a little too much, I think, on our subway system or metro system, as well as, we have monuments that we're paying for. So, yeah, it's gonna be so strange. We built a very, very unorthodox city here, where it's basically this is our only connection to the outside world by road. And that's why you can see some traffic. I mean, for a city of this size, you are going to see some traffic. 12% traffic, in fact. So currently, okay, maybe 13%. It's fluctuating. But we have a traffic flow of 87%. And again, for a city of this size, 170,000 people. That is extremely rare, extremely good. Yeah, I mean, and how did we do that? By using roads. That's the 2 bike lane road. So, if you haven't been using 2 bike lane roads, definitely do that. Build roads with bike lanes. That forces your citizens to walk to work instead of taking their cars. So you can see my citizens here literally are just walking to work. Sometimes they're biking, actually, depending on if their workplace is close enough. Yeah, so if you look at my city, it's if you look at the traffic flow of my city here, I mean, it's a pretty big chunk of my city here. This is where the bulk of my population lives. As you can see, the traffic is non-existent. And it's not because of the metro line, because the metro line is a fairly new addition to my city. It's literally because we use roads with bike lanes. Yeah, and I don't have any bus routes or anything in this big chunk of my city either, because buses themselves generate traffic. I do have some bus routes in my farming area here. It's something I'm contemplating about getting rid of, because like I said, buses themselves generate traffic. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I need to figure out how to zone more industrial zones, but I'm just waiting for the computer to populate this with workers. You know what? I'm finally gonna build. I think, going to build this fire helicopter depot, and I'm gonna build it next to the water because they do need water. The helicopters do. Let's see if I can build it sideways. Too steep. I'm gonna have to build it here, perhaps. So to combat forest fire, you need to build a fire department with a helicopter, which is what we're trying to do right now. And then you need to build some watchtowers. And the watchtower has an extremely large range, as you can see. So lay that out judiciously. We have a lot of forestry industrial zones in our map. So we do need fire departments with helicopters to combat forest fires. And so you combat forest fires by building a fire department with helicopter capabilities. And we probably should have fire watchtowers here, since the bulk of our citizens live in this part of the map. Or at least a big chunk of our citizens do. So there you go. That negatively impacted our income a little bit, but that's okay. We can afford it. We have 18 million in the bank, so I don't think we're going to be hurting too much in the short term anyway. So awesome. Hopefully that will curb a little bit of the forest fires rather, since we have quite a bit of a forestry here. Actually, we have that, and we also have this. And so yeah, so yay, if you're just joining us, so we have a city of 170,000 people with currently a average traffic flow of 87-88%. I mean, it fluctuates. 89%, as you can see. It's fluctuating. And if you played City Skylines for any length of time, you'll know by first-hand experience that as your city grows, you will run into major traffic problems. And there are many ways you can address that. The opposite way to address it is by simply upgrading your roads. You really don't want to just randomly, without thought, upgrade your roads, because higher capacity roads will alleviate traffic temporarily, but in the long run they will also cause more traffic. I mean, think of any major city in the real world. Think of Los Angeles, think of New York, think of, you know, Beijing, right? They've got roads, and the more higher capacity roads you have, the more your citizens will want to drive. So it's kind of like, hey Victor, how's it going, man? I just saw your comment there. And hello there, Rayo Gamer. Hey Victor, no, I just started live streaming probably like 20-30 minutes ago. And if you notice from our last broadcast, I think we ended the broadcast where I had a population of 170 people, 150 people. Now we have 170. We're still maintaining a really good traffic flow of, looks like 87% right now. But what happened was I left the game running while I went to bed, so the time did pass by a little bit. And so when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my god, I have massive unemployment problem. So that's actually what we're trying to curve right now. I started with an unemployment rate of 57% just because I left the game running overnight. So currently it's at 36%. It's starting to go down. So it's just a wait and see process. I built more industrial zone, but the computer still wants me to build more industrial zones. So yeah, Victor, if you notice, my industrial zone before was only up to here. Now it's extended all the way to the right here. So I'm slowly I think I'm gonna slowly occupy this entire area of just industrial zone. I think is what's gonna happen. So yeah, so let me go ahead and zone more industrial zones. I'm really just waiting for the computer to populate this area. But I think maybe I should just start zoning more industrial zones now. Let's first adjust our district before we do anything else. We're going to turn this into a forestry area, or extend our forestry area to go all the way that way. Hey Victor, yeah, the subway's doing pretty good. I started to employ a little bit more subway now as well. So the subway, and it's going to be kind of hard to see, but that's the subway line. I'm trying to build out a new residential area here, but there's no demand for residents right now. Yeah, so that's my subway line going left to right on the screen. And I also built one here going left to right. Yeah, and if we look at our subway usage, looks like we have 1,909 using subways right now, and the bulk of my citizens are still using cable cars. I've actually started to demolish a tiny bit of my cable cars. Hopefully I'll replace some of them, not all of them, with the metro line. There's some areas of my map, like this island here, or this part of the land here, where I have tried to run a metro line through it in the past, but I couldn't because it just wouldn't go through the water. It's just the slope is too steep. I think if I angle it in a certain way, it would. But I think I might just leave the cable cars where they are here, since the people are getting around just fine with cable cars. Now you're gonna see more train tracks underneath now. I've tried to hide the train tracks underneath. If you look here, that cargo train station has train tracks just zigzagging underneath. So actually I discovered something new. Victor, check this out. So when I built this cargo train station last night, it generated massive traffic in this portion of my map, and it actually brought down my traffic flow to in the low 80s. And you can see why. This cargo train station is very busy. Lots of train stops by here to drop off cargo, pick up cargo. And so you can see by the traffic on the street that this is a very highly traffic street. And so when I had this cargo train station right next to this street, this green street here, it backed up all the traffic in my farming district here. So I thought of something crazy. It's like, what if I put the cargo train station into its own road? So literally I built this road that goes left to right here, just for that cargo train station and for no other purpose. And lo and behold, that actually solved the problem. So, I mean, there is still going to be some traffic going into this cargo train station, but as you can see, my farming district has pretty light traffic. And so that was kind of a weird, crazy little experiment that I did. And so I'm kind of surprised that it worked as well as it did. So let's go ahead and create more industrial zone here. I'll stop yapping and do more building. Well, first we got to de-zone these. Let's go ahead and de-zone them. I'm going to use a large brush. And let's de-zone these as well. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and use a fill. Yeah, I gotta create more industrial zones. It's like, no matter how many of these I build, the computer just keeps asking for more. I can never keep up with the demand for industrial zones, so I don't know if I'm building the right kind. I'm just building primarily forestry and farming zones just because, I don't know, maybe I should just build a normal industrial zone sometimes, I'm thinking. Maybe that's what the computer wants, just a normal industrial zone, and I'm just not listening. So you know, the Green Cities DLC was enabled for my game yesterday, but I haven't noticed any change, or I shouldn't say I haven't noticed any change. I have noticed some change, but I haven't noticed any significant change in the game at all. I wonder if I have to start in a new map or start a new game in order to get some of the benefits of the Green Cities DLC expansion pack. Because I noticed, I watched some YouTube videos of some guys playing it on their Xbox, and there definitely were more buildings. For example, when you build a university or a school, I mean, he had a long list of options for schools, and look at me, I have the same ones as from Mass Transit DLC. So I have a feeling I might have to start a new game just to start playing around with Green Cities DLC. But anyway, that's for another day. Let's see if we can alleviate our unemployment. Okay, so it's gone down from 57% to 30%. So that's definitely helping. So yeah, I've never really left the game just running overnight. Last night was the first night I did that. And thankfully I had the game running at a very super slow speed. It was just the normal speed. So time did pass by, but not very much. I think maybe, I don't know how many years actually passed by. Maybe like 40 years, I don't remember. Okay, so what does the computer want now? So we might be hitting a death wave pretty soon. Our birth rate is 459 per week, and our death rate is 438. So those two numbers are starting to meet each other, which means a death wave is coming. Let's look at our traffic flow. Still maintaining an 89% traffic flow. Not bad, not bad. I started hiding the train tracks, Victor, because for some reason I just don't want to see more clutter on the screen. In fact, I'm probably going to hide this train track here pretty soon. Oh no, I'm having train backup problems, I think. Yep. Looks like the trains are pretty stopped. Could that be the problem? Let me just temporarily turn off this station. This is like my busiest cargo train station. It's gonna make people unhappy temporarily, but that's okay. I mean, I guess it's a... Yeah, the trains are definitely slowing down. It's like a victim of my own success. So we'll leave that train station off for just a tiny bit. Let the traffic flow catch up a little bit. And that's another strategy that I realize you sometimes need to do periodically. It's like if traffic is starting to back up, turn off the thing that's causing the traffic, which in this case is actually the cargo train station, just for a little bit. Let the system catch up. So let's see. Let's look at our population. Okay, so our unemployment's gone down to 26%. Very good. But now we're about to enter a death wave because more people are dying than people being born. 398 births versus 482 deaths. And that ratio is going to increase only in the favor of the death part. So yes, we will encounter some death wave. Still maintaining a traffic flow of 88%. That's very good. Okay. Alright, so we've turned this off long enough. Let's go ahead and turn it back on. Now the system has caught up. So I think at some point I do need to alleviate the road problem entering into my city, because there's just so many people trying to enter my city. I wonder if I should create another entrance to my city elsewhere, but I don't want to do that because, I mean, look at that. We're achieving sometimes a 90% traffic flow for a city this size. That's crazy. We're kind of entering a death wave phase right now, so if you see my population is going down, it's because of that. We have 377 people who are being born per week, but 546 are dying every week. So it's gonna happen. It's the death wave happening, or starting to happen. My population should pick back up probably in the next 10 minutes. It takes a while to get out of the death wave cycle. Okay, looks like the computer has finally populated this area with workers for the most part. That's good. Yeah, so this is one reason, Victor, I'm thinking of getting rid of the cable cars, is because, yeah, I kind of don't like them going across the land here, because you're not able to use that land. So I might switch this into the subway pretty soon, the metro line. In fact, while we're waiting for things, why don't we do that now? So I think there are some usefulness to the cable cars, like going across islands where sometimes the metro line just can't get there for whatever reason. Yeah, but I think the metro line, for somebody like me who wants to keep the surface clean, the metro line is definitely more advantageous. So let's go ahead and build. Wow, the underground part of my city is gonna look like messier and messier as the city gets bigger and bigger. And that's okay, I guess. I'm assuming that the metro line tube can get across there, right? I hope. So we are going to replace this with a metro line. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and connect that first to make sure we can actually connect it. So you can't go across, obviously. So I wonder if I can... Is that gonna work, Victor? Can I run a metro line that goes from left to right, and even though it would have to go through this weird route like this? I guess we'll find out shortly. Oh, that's another metro. Wait, that's a train station, actually. Train line. So run underneath it. Why can't I run underneath it? Something about the slope being too deep. This is the less glamorous part about playing this game, is laying out metro lines. Okay, so can I create a line, a metro line that goes from... It's gonna be a weird route from here to here. Where's the cursor? And then to here, and then back. It works in New York. I saw a comment just now. That is true. New York has a very complex subway metro system. I guess you're right, it did work. Perfect. So now we can just extend that metro line some more. Here. I guess so much for symmetry. Here. And why not? Let's put a metro line at the very end of the map here. Just because we can. Let's go ahead and connect the tubes. So let's go ahead and extend the line that we just created. Uh-oh, I forgot where it is. Oh, this one. Alright, so grab this line, so press and hold X on the PS4 while holding on to the X button. Let go of it on the next stop. And then do the same thing. Press and hold X while holding on to it. Let go on the next stop. It took me a while to figure this out. I actually didn't know how to extend a line. Press and hold X and let go on the new stop. Yeah, somehow that wasn't so obvious to me. So perfect. So I'm thinking now maybe we can get rid of our cable car, because we just replicated the route using the metro line. Okay, so let's get rid of this one cable car line. Sorry, cable car. You've been a faithful cable car service for the longest time. But you have to give way to progress now. And by that, we need to maximize our land usage. Wow, look at all the people. Look at all of those people. Sorry, guys. No more cable cars. Don't hate me. Part of city planning. I promise, I'm trying to improve the city. Bye-bye, cable car. You've been a great part of the city, but for now, the city needs to expand, and we need the space. Alright, so we can now fill in those areas that used to be occupied by the cable car line. Oh, look at that, how funky. The area that used to be occupied by the cable car line was once a commercial district. It actually kept that designation, but we gotta rezone it to be an industrial zone. Perfect. What else? Oh yeah, same problem here. Guess we can get rid of that now. Let's check out our traffic flow. Hey, look at that, our unemployment is down to 15% now. Look at that, traffic flow of 90%. Ooh. Okay. I wish they can, when you're looking at the underground view, I wish they have a way to color code between an underground road like this or train tracks like these versus a metro line like these. Everything just looks all the same. That's kind of sad. There goes the death wave that was approaching, so it's finally here. And we predicted that. So let's see our subway usage. It will increase over time, obviously, as we convert more and more of our cable cars into subway. But look at the number of people using our mass transit every week, quite a bit. You know, Victor, I'm still trying to unlock the Eiffel Tower here. Look at that. I'm so close. I just need to build a tiny bit more industrial zone, and I can finally unlock the Eiffel Tower. For the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to unlock that. Hello, somebody posted something on the chat that I can't read. I'm sorry, I only understand English, so I can't read. I don't even know what language that is, but hello and welcome. So if you can see, our traffic flow is 91% right now. That's pretty crazy. So at the start of the podcast, we did have over 170 population, but we're in the middle of a death wave right now, so our population has declined significantly, but it should pick back up once the death wave is over. But if it amuses you, our traffic flow is 90% right now, 89%. It fluctuates a little bit. This cargo train station, Victor, is actually, these two cargo train stations are just generating so much traffic. I mean, it's not really impacting the statistics of the traffic flow because they're moving traffic, but you know, they're isolated near the cargo train station. I don't know if there's anything that I can do about that right now. But even the train themselves are like backed up. Death wave, oh no. That's a good point, Victor, but I wish I can just like right click on what the person said. Wait, can I? I was hoping I can just click on that person's sentence and just like right click and translate, but there is no option on the chat here, sadly. Hello, Hanova boy. I don't know what language you're speaking, but thank you for joining us. I only can read and write and understand English. I apologize. But if you're just joining us and you can understand English, we are in the middle of a death wave, so our population declined from 170 to currently at 140 something. But we do have an amazing traffic flow of 91%, if you can see on the graph there on the upper left corner. And the way we've achieved that is, one, we built exclusively 2-lane bike roads. If you've never used 2-lane bike roads in your game before, now is a good time to start doing that, because by building 2-lane bike roads, it forces your citizens to walk. Yeah, see, look, they're just walking. They're walking or biking to get from point A to point B. And also, as we build new sections of our city, like, again, ignore all the icons right now because we're in the middle of a death wave, but I build sections of my city in an isolated way, so I don't connect them to the main road. Yeah, I build them isolated, no road connection to other than to itself, really. So it's a isolated area, and then you use mass transit to connect them to other parts of your city. So in this case, I'm using a metro line now, as well as the cable cars. So yeah, if you've never used cable cars before, look at that. They're a very, very effective means of moving people from point A to point B. Just this one cable car stop here alone is servicing 564 people as of last week, so that's pretty crazy. And look at all the people that's just walking. Yeah, so if you're having traffic problems in city skylines, don't just keep building higher and higher capacity roads, because that will solve the problem temporarily, but your citizens are, you're basically encouraging your citizens to drive by building higher capacity roads. At least that's been our experience so far with this particular gameplay. is that if you build like a green roads with bike lanes, your citizens will walk and will use their bike to get to and from work. So definitely keep that in mind. You know what? I don't think I need this anymore. Let's go ahead and put more industrial zones there. I still have some areas that looks like it's a commercial zone. So we need to de-zone that, and that, and that. And replace them with industrial zones. The beautiful sound of the birds with the dead skulls on the horizon. Let's look at our traffic flows. It's still remaining at 88%. And looks like we are definitely in the middle of our death waves. 469 births every week versus 1,000 deaths every week. So, and if you played City Skylines in any length of time, you know about the death wave. So we are definitely in the middle of that. Oh, look at this area here. It's developing. That's a good sign. So that means once we get out of the death wave, this area will start to develop. Very nice. And we want that. Because that's the only way our population is going to grow, is if we keep building more residential zones. That's obviously common sense. Yeah, so that's also one thing to keep in mind, is never stop building, did I say commercial zones earlier? I meant residential zones. Never stop building residential zones, no matter what's happening in your city. If you want your city to grow, I mean, do be careful that as your city grows, you will have more and more problems, such as number one being traffic problems, actually. So as you build out your residential zone, like what I'm doing here, again, if you want to minimize traffic in your city, what you also want to do is build office zones right next to your residential zones. At least that's what we've been doing throughout this entire game here. And by so doing, you minimize the need for your citizens to travel great distances just to go to work. So I'm basically building a residential and office zone kind of together. So I'm going to build office zones right here, I think, and right here. I think I'm gonna keep some spots for residential for some. No, you know what? Let's not. Let's just make everything office zones. There you go. And so now our citizens will have a place to live and a place to work. So ironically, despite the fact that we have a death wave happening in other parts of our city, we have, in this case, a new part of our city. People are still moving into our city. That's something I kind of don't really expect sometimes. Like, hey, lots of people are dying. You still want to move to my city? Sure, why not? It must be a great city if lots of people are dying. But that's just the way the death wave works. We're going to expand this city because we do want our population. I'm hoping to end the broadcast with a population of 180,000, so we'll see if we can reach that. By the way, Victor, so my daughter also has a PS4, and we're not living in the same household, and so she's using my PlayStation account as well, because that was my original PS4. So on these live broadcasts, if I get kicked off of my PlayStation 4 like what happened yesterday, it's because my daughter has decided she'll play video games, and my daughter's only 6 years old, and I want to encourage her to play more video games. I don't really want to change my PlayStation password or anything like that to prevent her from playing video games, so I am going to have to, like, you know, suck it up and just be booted off of my live broadcast once in a while because my daughter wants to play video games. I'm going to give her the priority, I guess. So yeah, just wanted to explain that. that I'm going to continue to live broadcast, and if I do get booted out, it's actually because my daughter wants to play her game. And the game that she plays, she actually is trying to learn to play this game, and she's only 6 years old. So if you can imagine a 6-year-old trying to learn to play this game, it's actually pretty incredible. It's actually pretty complicated to play this game as an adult. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna make this entire area here just commercial or office zones. I'm gonna need, I forgot, garbage collection. We already have one. Perfect. We're gonna need a crematory. Forgot about that. Oh, we don't have one yet. Let's put it in the middle. Oh, by the way, since the Green Cities DLC, the crematorium is a negative thing now. So I need to move it somewhere else. That is one change that I noticed they did. I have often wondered why the crematory was a positive thing before the Green Cities DLC. Like, who actually wants to live near a crematorium? Are we starting to get over the death wave? Let's see. So, our unemployment rate is down to 4%. Yay! It was 57% when I woke up this morning. Our traffic flow remains at 90%, 91%. Wow. Actually doing extremely good on the traffic front. Let's see what else. Oh, we hit the death wave in the brand new part of my city. Whoa. I didn't expect that. How can they be dying when they just moved into my city? Traffic flow at 91%. That's actually pretty good. I'm gonna have to change the description of my YouTube channel there, because people are gonna expect that I have 170,000 population, and then they'll see that I only have 120 right now, and that's because I'm in the middle of a death wave, guys. I'm sorry. I love it when it like rains and the road shimmers. It looks like the road is metallic. Alright, let's keep building this part of the city. Because if you want a population to grow, you gotta give them room to grow. So Victor, I bought Kingdom Hearts 3 and I've only like live broadcasted it twice. And for some bizarre reason, more people watch me broadcast City Skylines on Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's kind of very discouraging because I spent like $100 getting that game and I feel like I just wasted my money because nobody wants to watch me play that game. Although that game is actually really fun. I think I might broadcast it some more next week. But I need more YouTube subscribers, so I figured, hey, I'm gonna broadcast whatever it is that people want to see. If they want to see me play this game instead of Kingdom Hearts, then this is the game I'm gonna play. Oh, I totally forgot about the water. Silly Billy. Yeah, so if anybody here that's in the live broadcast right now that's new and have never joined us before, you know, please subscribe to my channel. I like doing these live broadcasts. I especially like playing this game. So if you like this game and you want to see more live broadcasts, definitely hit that subscribe button because that definitely helps me out as I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. I am trying to like see if I can get like 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't know if that's doable. Looks like I'm just gonna focus exclusively on gaming, which I don't mind. I'm actually a gamer myself. I like playing games. I don't know why I'm demolishing that tiny bit there. I've never paid attention before to how I lay out my pipes. Oh no, I messed that up. That's okay, we'll just keep going. Jeez, this death wave is still happening. Okay, so this part of the city is growing, while other parts of the city are dying due to the death wave. Did we build a police station yet? Okay, so we have. Perfect. Wow, look at all the death in the city. It's scary. Let's see if we're out of the death wave. Oh, we are. Okay. So now we have 1,000 births per week versus 749 deaths. So we're definitely finally getting out of it. Ah, thank you, Rockin' Rich 526. I appreciate it, man. Hey, what's up? Ah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I just saw your comment there. Comment there says you like my channel. Thank you. Appreciate it. I just like started paying attention to trying to grow my channel in December when I met a new friend who encouraged me to work on my YouTube channel. And I've had a YouTube account since the early, I don't even know, the early 2000s, and I've really done nothing with it. And so now, I've decided, hey, you know what? I should, since I tend to play a lot of video games, I might as well just like live stream a video game and meet some friends and create a channel. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you subscribing there on Rockin' Rich 526. Appreciate it. All right, let's see. Now we just have to wait. I have to wait until we're finally and completely out of the death wave, which we just are now getting out of. All these abandoned buildings will get repopulated on its own. You don't really have to demolish them or anything like that. It just takes a little bit of time, quite a bit of time, depending on how big your city is. But I assure you the population will rise all the way back up to 170,000. It's probably going to be a little bit higher than that because we have a new area here that's starting to develop. And I was trying to develop this new area here so we can hit a population of 180,000 before we end the broadcast. But we'll see. We first have to get through the death wave, which, by the way, Victor, seems to happen more and more. I know it's every 6-7 years, right? It's funny because the first... I guess you were right, Victor. I think you mentioned that one time. When I first started out the game, I didn't encounter any death wave because there were no, adult senior people that were dying. So now there's this constant death wave in the game every 6-7 years, which is really annoying. I wish they would change the formula or the algorithm of the death wave, kind of like in SimCity, where you don't really notice people dying so much. I mean, it's a part of life, I understand, but they really, really emphasize that in this game so much. It kind of makes your city look so terrible when you're in that, in the middle of that death wave or when you're recovering from it. I hate looking at my city when that's happening. It's like you work so hard and then all of a sudden you see all these flashing icons. It's like, ah. But it's okay. We'll get out of this. It's happened several times now. It eventually recovers, and it usually ends up recovering better than what it was, as long as you keep building more residential zones, of course. If you don't build more residential zones, then obviously your population will remain the same. Yeah, it's, common sense there, right? If you want your city to grow, keep building more residential zones. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. So I can pretty much guarantee your population will go back up beyond 170k. But it is going to take a little bit of time. That's actually, Victor, the reason why I left my PlayStation running last night before I went to bed. It's because I was in the middle of a death wave, and I was like, I was waiting for it, and then finally I just went to bed and forgot that I had the PlayStation running. Luckily, the PlayStation goes to sleep after 3 hours on its own, so it really just ran the game 3 hours on its own. Well, one thing I did notice, Victor, when my daughter booted me off of my live broadcast yesterday, the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, I didn't save the game. Funny enough, when I logged back on, hours later, I didn't want to log back in the moment I got booted off my PlayStation, because then that would boot off my daughter, and if she wants to play her game, I'll let her play her game. So I logged on about 4 hours later, and I realized that my game was on pause. I guess it was suspended, and so I didn't really lose any progress that I had on that live broadcast. So thankfully. So this is still that same game that that you watched yesterday, that you watched me build yesterday. Okay, so we are finally getting out of the death wave. Yay! 1,185 births per week versus 648 deaths. So that's good. We're eventually going to get out of this death wave. It might take a little bit of time. But let's look at our traffic flow. It went down to 85%, 87%. So, okay, we're good. We're still good. We're at 87%. That's still very good for a city of over 100,000 people right now. Let's see here. I wonder if we should extend the subway system some more. I think we'll leave it like that for right now. Let's keep building. Let's keep building. Oops, made a mistake there on the zoning. I wish there was an easier way to do these zonings, and it's kind of... It's probably hard for you guys to watch me do these. Lay out the roads, zone the zones. I wish there was an automated, templated way to do this in the game, but there isn't. Okay, so our population is starting to rise back up. We just survived a death wave where we lost like 60,000 people actually. So we lost about 60,000 people on that death wave, but we're starting to come back from that. We're starting to recover. And so you will see very shortly, well not very shortly, you will see in a few moments that our population should come back up to 170. In fact, it should come back up to a lot more than that, because we are building a new part of our city here, and people are already starting to move in. So that means that once we are completely out of the death wave, we are going to have more population than the 170,000 that we started with. Hey, Rockin' Rich 526. I just saw a comment there. So yeah, I have a fairly decent sized industrial zone right now. So it's right here. We got forestry and farming, and more forestry over here. Yep, I definitely agree with you. I do need to make it even bigger, because as soon as those influx of new people come into the city, I know they're going to be unemployed because they're going to look for jobs, and there's not going to be much jobs to be had. But when I started the broadcast earlier today, I had 57% unemployment because I left the game running while I went to bed last night. Never a good idea. I mean, I used to do that with my games, just leave the game running so I can get money. But when you have millions of money in the bank, you don't really need to do that. And I really haven't had to do that in this game except for last night, where the game basically ran by itself for 3 hours. And I think I left it at normal speed, thankfully, so at least the game wasn't running at, like, you know, double speed or triple speed. Sometimes I play this game in normal speed offline just to relax. You know, just listen to the birds and the music. It's kind of relaxing. It's a soothing game. Alright, let's see here. What else? Need to build more city services, like garbage. Garbage is always a problem. I guess this is not really that big yet to need a second one just yet. Let's look at our traffic situation. We are still at 88% traffic, so that's still pretty good. I'm thinking I should extend that subway, that metro line, all the way through here. And normally I would create my metro line so that it goes around in circles. But since I have two-lane bike roads, citizens just tend to want to walk and ride their bike. So I'm gonna experiment and see if I can just get away with not building too many metro stops. Only because at some point we want to pay attention to our expenditures. And again, we're okay right now because we have a lot of money in the bank. But I do want to remain in the positive. And we're in the negative right now because we're trying to recover from a death wave where we lost 60,000 of our population, which is insane. So our unemployment has been reduced by 50%. It was 57% when I woke up this morning to 7% now. That's much more reasonable. All right, so Rockin' Rich 256. You are right. I do need to extend and expand my industrial zone here. So what I'm going to do as soon as the population comes back up is, right now this is my tourism district. I'm probably just going to de-zone that, not at this very moment though, and convert that into forestry, only because when I look at the map's resources, this area is highly suited for forestry. So I'm probably just going to convert all the rest of this section to forestry at some point, which is unfortunate because this is where all of my commercial district right now, so I'm gonna have to find a way, and I'm gonna have to move them actually, and I don't know where. It should be near train tracks. I mean, I could move it here. There seems to be very limited space here, so that's something to think about. I might have to move it to the right side here. I don't like the way this tile is though, with the road going across, which I'm not gonna use, and the train tracks being right there. It's gonna be a challenge. Let me think about that, but that's a problem for another time. So this is getting built out slowly but surely. Wow, we have a population growth of 1,860 per week. That's crazy. Hey, Rockin' Rich, so I just saw your comment there. So, if you have a limited amount of funds and you're trying to decide which DLC to get, I would highly recommend the Mass Transit DLC. Like, if I have to get one DLC, I would say that's the one to get. So one thing I realized about this game, at least on the PS4, so I'm playing this on the PS4. So originally I bought the game, just the plain old vanilla PS4 version of the game, and I played it for about, I don't even know when I bought it and when I played it for about a week just recently, because I just picked this game back up in the last 2 weeks. So I was playing it for a whole week. I kind of forgot how to play the game because I hadn't played the game in years. I played it in 2015. So it took me about a week to get reacquainted with the craziness of traffic problems. I totally forgot how this game is insane as far as traffic problems. So I played for a week. Started several cities, like 5, 6, 7 cities, all eventually failing at the end because of traffic problems. The biggest city I ever built was 205,000 people, and beyond that it just became kind of a hairy city to manage because of traffic. But anyway, yeah, I was just playing the game without any DLCs, and but now I bought all the DLCs. I bought the season pass on the PlayStation 4, so I'm just like getting the DLCs as they come. Like Green Cities DLC came out yesterday. I haven't done anything much with that, but Mass Transit DLC definitely makes a big difference, because you see new mass transit, like monorails. Monorails are so cool to watch. Blimps, I tend to build blimps. I haven't built a blimp on this game, on this map yet, on this particular game, but in all my other cities I've always built blimps just for fun, and blimps can move quite a bit of people too. But definitely cable cars. We built this entire city in the very beginning. The first 150,000 people, I think, of this city was built primarily using cable cars as our mass transit. And again, cable cars are only available in the mass transit DLC, as well as the monorail. But yeah, they introduced quite a bit of mass transit stuff, obviously, in the mass transit DLC, that will literally make a huge difference as your city grows big. I've also played around with a tram. I don't know if the tram is a part of the mass transit DLC or not, but that's also pretty effective at moving people. But the reason I don't build trams, taxi cabs, or even buses is that any vehicle that travels on land or on road will introduce traffic, including buses actually. So any new city block that I build, like this one, I'm not going to build buses, I'm not going to build trams, I'm not even going to build monorails. Monorails take up a little bit more space than I would like. If I have to choose between a monorail and a cable car, I think I like the look of the monorail better, but I like how the cable car and cable car stations take up a little bit less space. Yeah, but the one advantage of the monorail is that you can build a monorail on top of a road. That is actually very useful. Oh, so it's this one here, actually. Yeah, you can build a monorail on top of a 2-lane road, or even a 4-lane road. So yeah, I haven't been playing around with monorails and blimps in this particular game that we're playing, but in previous maps, previous gameplay, I have. I don't know, that was a long answer to your question. Get the Mass Transit DLC. Yeah. Alright, so our population's climbing back up. It's at 144 now. We have 1,458 people moving in every week now. So, Victor or Rockin, what do you guys suggest I do with this building structure here? This was already here as a part of the map. Should I just keep it? I was like trying to keep it as a historic building. That wasn't a building that I placed there. That was already there. And obviously it's not a building that I placed there because it's not next to a road. Looks like our population is climbing back up. So in case you're new and you haven't been with us for very long, we hit a death wave earlier, so it killed off about 60,000 of our population, and we did start the broadcast with 170,000 people. It's only now that we're starting to get back up to that level. And our traffic flow remains fairly high. It's currently at 89% right now, so by and large you can say that our city doesn't really have very much traffic problem. My fire department is slacking off. So let me see, let me keep extending this some more because I do want our population to hit 180 before we end the broadcast and before my daughter boots me off of the game. Oops, I don't know if that was straight or not. Wow, that's hard to tell. Yay, 149. We're gonna rise back up to 140. I know it. Or 140, 150, I mean. Yes, if you want your city to keep growing, definitely keep zoning more residential zones. But obviously, as soon as you do that, you're gonna run into another problem. Is that all your new residents are going to want jobs, so you're going to need to zone new industrial zones and new commercial zones. So it's a never-ending cycle, actually. In the earlier part of this game, when this game was still fairly new, I was trying to keep a healthy RCI graph. So there's a tiny bit of demand for housing or residential, and a tiny bit of demand for commercial, and a tiny bit of demand for industrial. And I kept that going for a very, very long time, but I realized it's actually really, really hard to keep just a slight... Basically, I always want my city to have some sort of demand for housing, demand for commercial, and demand for industrial zone. But it was actually quite hard to maintain that, you know, as your city becomes bigger and bigger. Now, I don't know how to zone this. Maybe I should zone this with offices. Or maybe alternate offices and then residential. I don't know how much office space do I really want to have. Maybe we'll alternate. We'll do... Well, maybe we'll do blocks. A few blocks of offices and a few blocks of residential. And these are really large blocks. Oh no, I haven't paid attention to my water supply problem. Or, not a problem just yet, but it will soon be. One thing I did notice since the Green Cities DLC came out is sometimes the game stutters more. That may not show up on the live broadcast, but I noticed that sometimes like I feel like the game is stuck or has crashed, but it's just like stuttering. So I don't know, I guess there's more processing going on because of the new DLC. I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, and I really don't pay too much attention to the way I lay out my pipes, and I know that's not very wise because pipes cost money. But when your city gets to be really, really big, it becomes kind of a pain to have a perfectly laid out pipes. Okay, so now our city will eventually grow to 170, at least we hope. But we do need... I think we're doing okay on water right now, actually. Yeah, I think we're probably okay. Yay! No dead people in the new part of the city, that's good. Let's go ahead and build... I want to build more crematory and garbage incinerator plants. I guess I should hold off. I just don't want to forget, that's why. Let's see. Can we extend the metro line? Maybe one more time over here. And this is probably going to be the only connection we're going to have for now. Oh, it's funny how that's just... What zone? What is this? It's a building? It's an office building. Huh. Okay, so we do need to build another incinerator plant. I think I'm just going to build it right here. And another crematory, because people will eventually die again. I guess right there. Alright, population still continuing to rise. That's a good thing. And as you predicted, Rockin' Rich, unemployment is rising. As people come in, they're gonna want jobs now. But so far there's no demand for it yet. But we are expecting that there's gonna be a lot of people looking for jobs very, very soon. Actually, they already are, because our unemployment just rose significantly. So we can begin by dezoning my tourist district. I worked so hard in this tourist district. There's the space elevator. Let's move the space elevator. And then now, and I know these are like not a good spot to put all the monuments, but like I don't know what to do with them at this point in time. I'll just put them right there in the middle of my industrial zone. I know that's not a good place to put it. So let's go ahead and just dezone these now. Actually, let's go ahead and extend the district first. This is forestry. Oh, actually, I just want to extend the district. So we're going to turn all of this into an industrial forestry district. Let's go ahead and dezone them. Actually, I'm going to use the brush, large brush. Dezone, dezone, dezone. Dezone. And since this is going to be farming, we don't have to have parks all around it. Oh, now is probably a good time to get rid of the cable car as well and just replace that with a subway, probably. How many people were being serviced by this cable car? 282. That's actually pretty good. So we're preparing for a wave of people who are going to move into the city. They're going to want jobs. And let's see if we can provide them. We're going to need some temporary power right there for that cable car. Wow. Looks like there's a big demand for offices. I guess my population really are getting old. They want more offices. So you know what? I think I'm going to listen to Rockin' Rich advice as well, and just convert all these to offices for right now.
Because what's going to happen is more people are going to move in here at some point, and yeah, I would prefer that they don't have to commute to go anywhere to work, to just walk and bike to their workplace. That would be better. So do you guys even recommend building like mass transit connection to your farming and forest district? I guess you should, right? I guess that's how they're gonna get to work. I'm thinking I might replace this cable car now with a metro line underneath it. Maybe relocate the metro line so it's closer to this cable car. Go ahead and demolish that. Hey, look at that, our population's back up to 164. So eventually we're gonna get right back up to our original 170 population, 170,000. And I am hoping we will actually go beyond that, since we built a brand new residential area there at the top. Oh, I guess since this is all just one area now, I should just connect them by road. They weren't connected by road before. They were just connected by a bicycle path, so people, I was expecting people to walk to go to work. There you go, so now they're connected by road. So we have a very high unemployment at the moment, still. Our traffic flow is at 87%, so that's at least going strong. Still doing good there in that department. 88% at the moment. So if you guys have suggestion to improve the traffic flow coming into my city without obviously making the traffic flow worse, let me know. This is still the original connection to the city, and still is the only connection by road to the outside world to my city. I haven't connected to the highway system anywhere else in my city other than this, actually. And I used to think that to alleviate traffic, you know, have more connection to the highway from other parts of your city, but that hasn't proven to be true in this particular gameplay anyway, where we only have one connection to the highway, that one, and we've managed to build a city that's, you know, 170,000 people, and with a really good traffic flow of 87% right now. So let's look at our new creation here. Okay, so there's definitely some demand for offices. Let's look at our population. 1,194 births versus 320 deaths. We have a very high unemployment, or we have a very high projected unemployment, I suppose. People haven't actually really moved in yet, or I guess not yet, in the new industrial forestry zone that we just zoned here. It's going to take a little bit of time. Oh, do you have office zoning in specialization? I didn't know that. Really? Where is that, Victor? I don't see the office zone specialization, is there? I don't seem to have it, Victor. Yeah, I thought about building a roundabout. That's a good idea, actually. The only problem is roundabout take up so much space. I was like thinking if I get desperate enough, like if my traffic flow hits below 80%, I might start paying more attention to this. Really, I should, because you can see there's quite a bit of traffic. It doesn't help that I put my monuments right in my traffic area. I should actually move these monuments elsewhere. Because I'm pretty sure the monuments are also generating a little bit of traffic, right? Not really. Oh, like this one, for example. 415 people visited it last week. So I'm sure that's generating traffic. Yeah, so is this one. So I should move the space elevator elsewhere for now as well. I don't know where to put it. Worked so hard to get these monuments, and now it's like, where do I put them? There you go. That makes my commercial district happy. It looks like Project Eden also creates some traffic. Does it? A little bit. Probably should move that elsewhere as well. I guess we'll leave it there for right now. So there you go. We've surpassed 170,000 population now, which is where we started off at the beginning of the broadcast, but we hit a death wave where it killed up like 60,000 of our population. So with a 172,000 population and rising, we have a traffic flow of 88%, which is, again, that's extremely good for a city of this size. And if you've been playing City Skylines for any length of time, you know that traffic becomes a major problem very, very soon. I think as soon as you hit like 50,000 people, you start to have traffic problems. Yeah, and again, we've solved that, or I don't know if we've solved it permanently, but we've been playing this game for the last 5 days or so now, I think. And we truly have not had any traffic problems, any major traffic problems anyway. Our traffic flow has been close to 90% the entire time we've been playing this game for the last 5 days or so now, I think. Again, we solved that by creating roads, or by laying down roads, using 2-lane roads with bike lanes. We use cable cars initially as our means of mass transit, and we also build sections of the city isolated from the rest of the city. By that I mean we don't connect them other than through mass transit. We don't use roads to connect one part of the city to another. But that does have a downside. By creating, like, look at this area we're creating. It's isolated from a road standpoint from the rest of the city. There is no road connection to the rest of the city. The only connection we have currently is this metro line going across. So that's how we've maintained a good flow of traffic, is by not having so many road connections. If you can build a section of your city that can stand alone, and residential districts are one of those things that can stand alone. Your residential district does not need road connection to any other part of your city. It does not need road connection to your commercial zone. It does not need road connection to your industrial zone. You can just use mass transit, like a metro line or cable cars, which is what we've been using throughout the game. So build it in its own little world. Create a large block, flop down your residential zone. But what we like to do in this game is, at least what I've been doing in this game, is I would flop down my residential zones and then mix it up with office zones. And so by doing that, it encourages your people to just walk or bike to go to work. And that's really more for your older population, for the older people in your city, which is great. They need to exercise anyway, walk and bike. The younger part of your city are going to work in the normal part, the normal commercial zones. Our unemployment rate is really high, so we're going to have to address that pretty soon. Our traffic flow remains at 88%. So we have a 175,000 population right now with a traffic flow of 88%. That's pretty incredible. And so my goal was to reach 180,000 population by the end of the broadcast, and that's only going to be made possible if this part of the city develops some more. And we'll see if it will, I'm not sure. If we have some abandoned building here because of the death wave, right? they're gonna need to be repopulated with people first, I would imagine, before they would start moving into the new areas of the map. So it looks like we're finally starting to recover. We have basically recovered from a population standpoint from the death wave, but the rest of the city is still recovering. Oh, look at this. Let's see what we have. Not enough goods to sell. Hey Victor, yes, so for, I just saw your comment. Yeah, for the industrial zone and commercial zones, that I've been able to set specializations on. But for office zones, I don't see an option to do that at the moment. I noticed, like, you know, the Green Cities DLC did come out yesterday, and I did get it. But I haven't seen any of the new structures and buildings, so I have a feeling you might have to start a new game for all those things to be enabled. Which kind of sucks, because I think I do want, one of the things I do want in Green Cities in the DLC is they introduced the recycling plant, which they don't have here in Mass Transit DLC. I do want a recycling center, so now we don't have to keep incinerating garbage, which adds to pollution. We have a 90% traffic flow right now. That's crazy. Okay, it went back down to 89. Alright, so at some point, what else do we need? We're gonna need a crematorium, so we have 2 in this area. We're gonna need 3 or 4 probably. We are gonna need a police department, so let's add another one here. I've stopped building clinics since I have the medical center monument. I thought about building on these islands. So I can buy only one more plot of land. I might buy this one actually. Guess we'll buy it later. Well, there you go. Looks like we are going to hit 180,000 very, very soon. So we have a population of 180,000. Yep, we just hit it with a traffic flow of 88% currently. So we're still recovering from that death wave. We haven't fully recovered yet. Yeah, Victor, so what was the largest population you ever had in your city? In any of the games that you played in the city Skylines? My goal is to beat my my highest population of 205,000, but we're not going to do that today. We're probably going to do that next week. So by the way, Victor, I'm not going to be broadcasting for the next 2 or 3 days. I'm going to be going out on a trip with some friends. We're going to go see some beaches and stuff. So I'm going to be out of town and off the grid. I may not even have internet connection for the next 2 or 3 days. So we're leaving tonight, and I won't be back until Sunday night, which means I'll be tired. So I really won't be broadcasting again until probably Monday if I'm not too tired. Oh, your largest population is 60 to 80,000? You haven't broken the 100,000 barrier, huh? Is it because of traffic problems? Did you watch some of my trip videos? Yeah, we're going to, I don't even know what it's called, something like Maniwala Islands. It's basically just a beach area here in the Philippines. So yeah, that should be exciting. It makes me go out there and do something, you know, fun in the quote-quote real world. So Victor, what do you do again for work? You might have mentioned that before in the previous broadcast, but remind me again. So we have a population of 182,000 now and still rising, with a traffic flow of still 89%. Now we are just recovering from a death wave, so if you notice a lot of abandoned building, that's because of that. And again, this is our single point of connection by road to our city. So this is something I'll have to think about how we will address, but the bulk of our traffic problem is probably coming from this entrance, as well as from the cargo train stations. But this is an isolated moving traffic, so this is not really too much of a problem, I think. But it's something we'll have to address probably next week. I think probably next week we're gonna address, I mean, by and large we're doing really well. For a city of 183,000 people, having a traffic flow of 87%, that's really, really good. But I think we can do better. Maybe next week we'll address some of our traffic problems, and we'll try to get our traffic flow to an average of 90%. So that's going to be our goal next week. Let's see if we can accomplish that. And I think we'll follow Victor's suggestion. At some point we'll just create roundabouts here at the entrance and exit part of my city here. And that should improve traffic by quite a bit. But we'll see. I don't want to do that now because then I'll have to like de-zone and destroy some of these things and then put roundabouts. We'll do that next week. But this entire city has been sort of like an experiment. The experiment really is, can we build a green city? A city that can grow really big but not relying so much on cars. And the answer is yes. So we have built this big island here. It has no road connection. I understand there is a road going through this island, but we're actually not connected to that road. And if you can see, traffic here is non-existent. This is primarily residential and office zones. A little bit of traffic there, but that's nothing really. It's moving traffic. The same thing here when we built this part of the city. Again, look at this city. There's no traffic at all. This is, again, residential and office zones. So I'm basically always isolating the residential and office zones into its own little quote-quote island. And so we've done that again here. Again, excuse the icons there. Yeah, there's really no traffic here at all. It's pretty amazing. We made it all the way to 185,000 population and still maintaining a fairly decent traffic flow. So we're going to be more aggressive with building our green city, and we'll target a traffic flow of 90% next week and see if we can achieve that. Ah, Victor, you're systems engineer. Awesome. Yeah, Malaysia is actually, I was in Singapore earlier last month. Yeah, Malaysia was definitely, when it's right next to Singapore. I mean, Singapore is in Malaysia, kind of. Yeah, but actually the Philippines, I mean, I'm kind of far off from Malaysia now. It's a plane ride away, right? Like 3 hours, probably, a plane ride. And I was just reading up on Malaysian Philippine history. A lot of Malay or Malaysian people actually traded and traveled to the Philippine Islands in the earlier part of human history. So a lot of Malaysians look Filipino, and a lot of Filipinos look like Malaysians, actually. Hey, our traffic flow went down to 85%, and I bet it has something to do with this. Look at that. A standstill. That's crazy. There's so many people are trying to get into my city. Why do you like my city so much? A lot of people just died from a death wave. So here we are. The computer's gonna want more commercial zones now. Look at that. Alright, our traffic flow went back to 88%. So that's good. I'm still hoping for this thing to build up some more, actually. Hey, so Victor, so what do you do at your job? You do networking, desktop support? Yeah, so what do you do as far as an IT person? Because technically, being a software engineer myself, I do fall under IT. So build a tunnel from the city entrance all the way to the new area. Is that why you think there's more people coming into the city, because they're trying to go to that new area? Well, we do have a tunnel, just not directly at this area. I'm thinking I don't want to build a tunnel near this choking point, because then I'm just thinking in my mind, right? I don't want people to be crossing the street and dying and creating more traffic. It's just silly, I know. But I mean, I've watched other people play, and as your city gets bigger, even roundabouts. I agree with you that roundabouts will improve the traffic flow. That's for sure. But even roundabouts will eventually become a choking point as well when there's just so many people trying to travel that road. And we are still maintaining an 88% traffic flow. So while overall it's still quote quote good, I can see that it is starting to become a problem as our city gets bigger and bigger. And at this rate, we are going to hit, probably not in this broadcast, probably the next time we do a live broadcast, we're going to hit a 200,000 population, I can see quite easily, because obviously there's plenty of room to grow, plenty of space for people to move in and become a resident of our city. But we are going to continue to have problems with our ever-expanding industrial zone, and as that expands, it's going to need a larger commercial zone, which I'm running out of space, so I'm going to have to transplant this commercial zone into a different area of the map somehow. That way I can continue to expand our industrial zone towards the right side here. So let's see how close we are to getting that Eiffel Tower. I've been wanting to get that Eiffel Tower since... Oh, I've already unlocked it. Oh, wow, sweet. I've been wanting this for the last 2 weeks, guys, because you had to build like 30,000 blocks or whatever of industrial zone. It's only now that I finally achieved it. Which is crazy, because I have built cities larger than this one, and I never did unlock the Eiffel Tower until just now. So yay, I'm very happy about that. Wow, Victor, that's awesome, dude. I just saw your comment there. So I have to assume you're a fairly old guy, Victor, or older, maybe in your 30s or 40s? If you've done so many things already in IT, and you're doing, wow, business intelligence and virtualization, wow, big data. So you've done development as well. Wow, very cool. I've focused exclusively on just development, so that's the... I mean, I was actually in the military for 4 years, where I did kind of cyber warfare type stuff, where I did routing, networking, VoIP. We did satellites. What else? Yeah, I did IT stuff there as well, like installing Windows Server, Exchange, creating domains, stuff like that. Wow, I can't believe this. We could potentially hit 190,000 population before the end of the broadcast. I don't know if we will or not. That wasn't my goal. We do need to address our need for commercial zones, though. I'm hoping we can get away with it. And, you know, at least until we hit the 190,000 mark. But our commercial zone is definitely suffering, I can tell. Ah, happy belated happy birthday, Victor. Very nice. You're so young, and you're 30. Alright, so if you've just joined us, we have a population of 188,000 with a traffic flow of 87% currently. It kind of fluctuates a tiny bit. Sometimes it'll be 88, sometimes it'll be 90, but there you go, now it's at 88. Yeah, so again, that's, for a city of this size, to have a population of 188,000 with a traffic flow of 88% is, you know, mind-bogglingly good. If you've ever played City Skylines, you know that firsthand, that traffic becomes a problem very early on and will continue to plague your city as it gets bigger and bigger. So this city has really just been an experiment to see if we can build a quote-quote big city while still maintaining a decent traffic flow. And I think by and large we've pretty much, you know, for the most part succeeded. We have our shortcomings, of course, which we'll have to address in the next broadcast. We just survived a death wave. That's why you still see some flashing abandoned building there. But as our industrial zone expands, and it's continuing to expand. I mean, this here, what you're looking at here, this used to be my entire city. Now it's just my industrial zone, my forestry and farming zone. And now has moved on to this part of the map, my forestry. And I think my industrial zone is going to swallow up this entire commercial zone, but we might have to do that in the next broadcast, because that's going to take quite a bit of time. I'm actually hoping that we could end the broadcast now with a 190,000 population. My goal originally was just 180, so we've kind of exceeded that a little bit. And we're doing really good in our income. We were making 14,000 per week, and we have 16 million in the bank. So overall, we're doing pretty good. We'll address some of the problems in the city the next time we do a live broadcast, which won't be until Monday, actually. So, Victor, what's your goal as you become older and older? What part of IT do you want to settle into? Look at that. We hit 190,000 population. We have 190,000 population now, ladies and gentlemen, with an average traffic flow of 89%. So we are here playing this on the PS4. No mods, no cheats. This is just hard work by me and some of the guys like Victor, who's been tuning in like every day, watching me play, giving suggestions on how to improve the city. So I've been listening to people like Victor and other people as well, and look at that, our traffic flow is at 90%, 90%, and we have a population of 190,000. That is incredible, ladies and gentlemen. So wow, that is crazy, right? So we're building out this new part of the city. Wow, I just saw it fluctuated from 91% to 90, so we're doing something right, I guess. We have other problems in the city, but traffic is not one of them. As your city grows, you're bound to have problems. Hey guys, so this has been a really successful gameplay and broadcast. I originally just wanted to hit 180,000 population, but now we're at 190,000 population with a traffic flow of 90%. So I think this is probably a good time to end the broadcast. Let me go read Victor's comment there. Definitely get into management as you get older, Victor, because as you get older, you'll notice that you won't be able to keep up with the younger guys who are going to be faster at you as far as the technical stuff. But definitely as you get older, set your sights on management. And you can still be a manager and be hands-on. A lot of managers who are technically inclined do that. Definitely don't be the lazy manager who just manages people. You know, always stay hands-on. Get certified if you can, and attend conferences, man. Keep the job in your role exciting by meeting other people who do what you do. Alright, well thanks a lot, Victor. Thanks for tuning in as always, man. Yeah, so we're at 191,000 now with an 89% traffic flow, which is superbly amazing. 90% now, see. Alright, man, take care. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast now. Take care, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. And again, subscribe if you haven't. Take care, guys. Alright, bye.